Let's get more details on the president's speech. Our Trisha Tirada joins us on the phone right now. Trisha, good morning. The European Union imposed a new regulation on the exportation of COVID-19 vaccines made in the EU, particularly AstraZeneca. What did the president have to say about this?
Yes, Ria, good morning. President Rodrigo Duterte cries foul over what he calls the hostage of vaccines by the European Union. Basically, the EU imposes exportation controls because it wants to make sure that its member states will be prioritized in the supply distribution before sending the doses abroad. The president also blames the new policy for delays in access to the vaccine.
Ang atin dito, ASEAN, but we are not really as powerful as the EU. Wala tayong connection, wala tayong pera. May pera tayo pero naka-ready lang. Standby. Huwag naman masyado ninyong idiin yung bayan ninyo na talagang pobre na gano'n. Nabubuhay pa naman tayo. Let us just hope for the best. The problem is yung bakuna. For all of the bruhaha. Mayroon kami dito. Nakita, mayroon saan? Yung AstraZeneca, hinostage ng European Union.
The president reiterates there's no corruption in the procurement of vaccines, as repeatedly said in the past and in his last address. The funds are on standby with the Asian Development Bank and the World Bank. Back to you.
Trisha, we know that this virus has devastated economies all over the world. How much money is the country losing in this pandemic?
Well, the president says Philippines are losing about 2 billion pesos every day due to the pandemic, and economic managers predict this may be the case until the coronavirus ends. Much of it, Mr. Duterte explains, have to do with the restrictions in place to prevent their transmission.
We are trying our very best to keep us afloat. Ang ekonomiya natin, mga kababayan ko, is masama talaga. Biro mo naman, ilang taong walang trabaho. The economy of the Philippines is in bad shape. But as I have said, it is not only the Philippines who suffers. We in the world is suffering with everybody.
Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez assures there's a vaccine program and there are funds for it. Dominguez says, through the multilateral approach, there's funding from the ADB and World Bank at around 56.2 billion pesos that can be used to buy 106 million doses of the vaccine. As for the vaccines coming from the COVAX facility, the government will be paying more than 4 billion pesos for 14 million doses. The target is to get vaccines for 17 million Filipinos, but Dominguez says they negotiated for 92 million as they factor in delays. He explains the money is just there, but there are delays in manufacturing. Back to you.
Trisha, there seems to be all different types of figures. So just to make it a little clearer, as of last night's address, how many vaccines has the government secured so far, and when is the rollout?
Vaccines are ready to go. This says the rollout of the first batch of vaccines will be on mid or last week of February. These will come from the COVAX facility, 117,000 doses from Pfizer, and Galvez says there are also around 5.5 to 9.2 million vaccines from AstraZeneca through the COVAX facility. Galvez is expecting about 3 million doses for February alone. Priorities for distribution of the first batch are healthcare workers, vaccinators, and uniformed personnel, since Galvez explains they will also help out in the rolling out of the vaccine. Authorities are eyeing to include essential workers for the second batch of distribution, and overall, so far the government has signed 5 term sheets securing 106 to 108 million doses for Filipinos. Galvez says the full rollout may take place third or fourth quarter this year, with about 30 to 50 million doses that will be sent in the country. Back to you, Ria.
Thanks a lot for that. Trisha Tirada there reporting.